The northern Svalbard archipelago is a harsh, icy, and windswept land where winter reigns almost all year round. In 2008, a team of researchers arrived here to investigate the mysterious deaths of seals. Local predators were suspected, but proof was needed, so it was decided to start observations. Data collection, lab tests, routine fieldwork, it was all part of the process. But even the most seasoned scientists had no idea these studies would lead them to a shocking discovery about the Arctic's most mysterious shark. No longer at the top? Just an unobtrusive reminder to do that thing under the video. So what exactly happened? The scientists honestly didn't expect a routine study to turn into a sensation, but in the stomach of a Greenland shark, they found the jawbone of a young polar bear. This discovery left them baffled. It had long been assumed that the bear alone ruled the Arctic ice and that its only threat could come from orcas. But it looks like this marine predator has gained an unexpected rival. It all started when a seal expert from the Norwegian Polar Institute in Tromsø, Kit Kovacs, was trying to get to the bottom of the mass deaths of common seals on Svalbard. Right away, suspicion fell on the Greenland shark, one of just two species of polar sharks. To test the theory, the researchers dissected one and went through its stomach. And there, along with other remains, they found a polar bear bone around 4 inches long. The scientists were so stunned by the find that at first they even burst out laughing. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. How the bone ended up inside the shark remained a mystery, and the answer to that question seemed no less astonishing than the discovery itself. To understand what makes this discovery so special, you have to imagine a journey to the world's edge, where the icy waters of the Arctic Ocean and the North Atlantic hide a creature few have ever seen with their own eyes. You dive down more than 8,200 feet, and there it is, waiting, the Greenland shark. Its scientific name sounds almost like a joke, Somniosus microcephalus, which can be translated as sleepy small head. And true enough, it's one of the slowest sharks in the world. You'll rarely see it near the surface. It prefers to drift lazily in the depths, where the temperature stays between just 28 and 44 degrees Fahrenheit. The shark looks like it was shaped by the cold depths, a cylindrical body painted in dark gray, brown, or almost black, with eyes that are very, very small. From a distance, it looks like a submarine, and the size of this sub is impressive, up to 23 feet long and weighing 1.5 tons. For comparison, a great white shark can grow up to 20 feet, but it's usually heavier, tipping the scales over 2.5 tons. The biggest Greenland sharks are longer than a Toyota Prius and weigh just under a ton. All in all, it's a slow and really huge predator. Now take a closer look at the eyes. You might think the shark is scanning for prey, but no, that would be wrong. In reality, the cornea often harbors a parasite, a tiny crustacean called Amatocoida elongata. It attaches to the eye, damages it, and leaves scars. Because of it, these sharks often have bad vision, seeing the world through a hazy veil. If you look at it, it almost seems pitiful. A huge body drags through icy waters at less than 1.8 miles per hour, poor vision, sluggish movements. You can't help but sigh. Life sure hasn't been kind to it, like it's not even a shark, but the ultimate loser of the northern seas. But that's an illusion. The Greenland shark, despite being slow and nearly blind, is still one of the Arctic's top predators. Yes, it's from the sleeping sharks family and seems to be in no hurry, but that's exactly what makes it powerful. Greenland sharks are numerous and fertile, making them some of the most successful big predators out there. While other species populations are tanking, the Greenland shark is doing just fine and keeps thriving. In short, we've got a real king of the Arctic depths here. The Greenland shark actually has way more advantages than drawbacks. For starters, even though it's almost blind, it navigates the dark depths perfectly. Seeing isn't really important here. In a world where light can't penetrate ice and deep water, the shark relies on other senses, and it works like a charm. Parasites on its eyes don't stop it from living or hunting at all. The Greenland shark's body is built for stealth. It's covered with special scales, dermal denticles. These tiny bumps look like teeth, and they're what help it move silently. On top of that, the rough surface reduces turbulence even more than smooth skin would. So this huge beast glides through the water almost like a ninja, quiet and unnoticed. Don't forget about an amazing sense of smell. With it, the shark can track prey or sniff out carrion even in the darkest waters. And it has a special trick: big gill slits behind its eyes. These are rudimentary openings that let it take in oxygen from the water without wasting energy. Most sharks, if they stop swimming, suffocate. But the Greenland shark can afford to move slowly and still save energy. So instead of a pathetic, clumsy fish, we're looking at a creature perfectly built for the harsh Arctic conditions. And its menu matches its lifestyle. These predator stomachs used to contain pieces of caribou, consumed as carrion or attacked directly in the water. There's even a myth that a shark can jump out of the water and seize a caribou standing on ice, though scientists view the story with some skepticism because what's the point of jumping? The shark's quite efficient even without acrobatic tricks. It can sneak up on live prey, but it also happily feeds on numerous carcasses, other sharks, seals, drowned horses. Sometimes you can see several Greenland sharks at the sea surface at once, feeding together on whale or fish remains killed by commercial whaling and fishing. Encounters with humans are rare, though, so scientists still don't know as much about Greenland sharks as they would like. It's well known that they have a special hunting tool, their jaws. The Greenland shark has 48 to 52 teeth in the upper jaw and 50 to 52 in the lower. The upper teeth are sharp and hold big prey, while the lower ones are broad and curve outwards. Grabbing the prey with the upper teeth, the shark spins its head in circles, slicing off neat chunks with the lower teeth. Smaller prey just gets swallowed whole. But wait, what about that polar bear? The whole story's confusing. In 2008, as I already mentioned, scientists found the jaw of a young polar bear in a Greenland shark's stomach. A bit later, in 2014, some muscle tissue and pieces of skin. This made a lot of people wonder, could these slow-moving sea giants actually pose a threat to polar bears? If you imagine a sea battle between the largest land predator in the world and a Greenland shark, the scene would be impressive. A real clash of titans, almost like in Pacific Rim. Such footage would probably make every nature documentary director drop what they're doing and rush straight to the North Pole. On a more serious note, the polar ice is melting, so scientists think that bears will spend more and more time in the water, hunting or moving between icebergs. And that makes them potential prey for big sea predators. Plus, warmer waters might bring bigger sharks up north too, raising the risk. Actually, polar bears are really dangerous opponents. At the shoulder, an adult bear reaches 3 to 5 feet, and standing on its hind legs over 10 feet. They can swim for almost 10 days straight, covering up to 427 miles without stopping, and maintain a speed of up to 6 miles per hour, paddling with their front paws and using their back ones as a rudder. On top of that, polar bears have an insanely strong bite, up to 81 atmospheres. That's a lot. Their big canines can reach 2 inches. And all this together makes these bears total killing machines. In comparison, the Greenland shark seems slow and leisurely, usually moving at under 1.8 miles per hour, although it can make rare bursts of speed. There's little known about its bite, but it's big and powerful enough to seriously harm or even kill a human. The conclusion seems obvious. A Greenland shark probably can't handle an adult polar bear. On land, it's got zero chance. But sick, exhausted, drowsy bears after a long swim or bear cubs, they could be vulnerable prey. That's likely what explains the polar bear remains found in shark stomachs. Or perhaps those bears were already dead when they crossed paths. Regarding the jaw found in 2008, researchers never reached a definitive answer. But most shark experts thought the polar bear was probably already dead by the time it became a shark's meal. After all, even a young 2 or 3-year-old polar bear would have been a formidable opponent for a Greenland shark. In any case, it somehow ended up in the water and was dead. But I guess bears still prefer to die on land. That's just my personal opinion. A 2014 incident proves this point. The bear was likely carrion. Even so, you can't be completely sure because Greenland sharks are still barely studied. And given that bears will spend more time in the water going forward, who knows? Maybe we'll witness some genuinely epic clashes between the two predators. Even more supporters of the idea that sharks attack live polar bears have their arguments. Sure, Greenland sharks can go down to 7,200 feet, but the seal fat discovered in their stomachs indicates that most hunting actually takes place in shallower waters. And there, these slow giants prove to be far more adept hunters than people used to believe. The findings of Dr. Kovacs and her group point out that polar sharks can catch live seals, quick and nimble creatures that you'd think could easily escape. This is especially obvious from the state of the remains. They're often fresh and don't have any signs of predatory invertebrates like brittle stars or amphipods. Those invertebrates usually appear if a corpse has been in the water for some time. That's why scientists suspected that these sharks could attack living seals. Yes, they move pretty slowly, but prey can still be surprised while asleep. Arctic seals sleep in the water instead of on ice to stay away from polar bears, and sometimes they sleep so soundly that a shark could snatch them. You might think a seal is dead, but touch it and it'll wake up and swim off immediately. No wonder that these sharks got the nickname Corkscrew Killer. Between 1993 and 2001, nearly 5,000 mutilated seal carcasses were found in Nova Scotia. Their skins had been stripped in a spiral, just like a peeled orange. But another perspective also looks convincing. Jeffrey Gallant, co-director of the Canadian group studying Greenland sharks, points out the Greenland shark simply cannot afford the risk of injury nor the expenditure of energy required to kill such a large and dangerous animal. There's far easier prey to be found. Meaning, while the shark has other food besides polar bears, there's no point in going after them. But what if there's no choice left? Could the giant predator still try its luck with a bear? If the shark gets anything, of course, that is because it's not the only predator around. In 2006, there was already a second recorded case of polar wolves killing a polar bear cub. This happened off the northwest coast of Banks Island, Canada. Researchers found tracks of an adult female with two tiny cubs and followed them for about 0.6 miles. Then wolf tracks appeared, coming from the south. It looks like the wolves caught up with the mother, separated one cub, and killed it. The little one's carcass was found covered in snow, with tracks spreading out in different directions. The cub had been partially eaten. Scientists have suggested a few possible reasons for this kind of interspecies predation: getting rid of a competitor for resources, preventing a threat to a mother or her offspring, and gaining energy. Considering the ecology of wolves and polar bears, the last hypothesis seems the most likely. Wolves, after all, hunt just about anything, and as we know, they can kill and eat other predators, including mustelids, felines, and canines. And now apparently bears too. And then there are walruses. Walruses are formidable creatures, real giants with muscular bodies and long, saber-like tusks. Usually a walrus will try to get away when it sees a bear, but if it's cornered or protecting its calf, it turns into a damn dangerous opponent. Any polar bear that picks the wrong moment to attack risks getting badly or even fatally wounded. On Wrangel Island, dead polar bears with wounds from walrus tusks have been found more than once. Living bears have also been spotted with injuries of varying severity. Most of them understand well. Attacking an adult walrus head-on for no reason can be almost like suicide. Often it's enough for the walrus to swing its tusks threateningly and the bear will back off. In the water, the situation's even clearer. Here, the walrus is practically untouchable for the bear. An aggressive walrus can defend itself and potentially drown an attacker using its size and agility to its advantage. Polar bears get this and almost always avoid confrontations in the water. So if we're talking about a fight in the water, a walrus becomes a real serious opponent. It's better not to mess with one. And if a bear does take the risk, a Greenland shark might happily come by later to pick up the leftovers. But in general, it can handle things even without the walruses, as long as the bear's tired enough. Moreover, sometimes polar bears get themselves into trouble out in the open sea. During aerial surveys in early September 2004, researchers spotted 4 polar bear carcasses floating in open water, presumably drowned. The incident made it clear swimming far from the ice, especially in years with late or thin ice cover, can be deadly. As I've already mentioned, polar bears are considered strong swimmers and can cover huge distances. One adult female with a radio collar in the Beaufort Sea swam nonstop for 427 miles over 9 days and then kept moving around on the sea ice for another 1,118 miles. Nevertheless, extreme conditions can be too much even for such champions. For example, polar bears near the town of Kaktovik drowned during a storm because the high waves were stronger than their swimming abilities. And there are probably many more cases like this than we know, since drowned animals are hard to spot even from above. and some may be carried away by currents beyond the surveyed area. In short, even the Arctic's best swimmers can't always handle the open sea, and there, once more, Greenland sharks could grab them. They won't let the chance slip. By the way, if a healthy, strong bear that's not tired yet meets a Greenland shark while swimming, could it attack it? Let's say the shark is young. You'd think meat is meat, but there's no evidence that polar bears actually eat these sharks. And this picky behavior is actually easy to explain. The Greenland shark survives in icy waters not just thanks to ninja skills and sharp teeth, it's made its body almost inedible. First off, sharks don't really pee the way we do. Their urine is absorbed into their flesh, and the urea helps retain water and prevents dehydration in salty environments. For other sea fish, keeping a water-salt balance takes constant energy, but for the Greenland shark, the high urea concentration does the job almost effortlessly. Urea destabilizes proteins. To avoid this, sharks stock up on trimethylamine and oxide in their bodies. It not only cancels out the harmful effects of urea, but also works like antifreeze, helping them survive in icy water, and it boosts buoyancy at the same time. Trimethylamine and oxide also turns into trimethylamine during digestion. This toxic compound can cause serious gut problems and gives an effect similar to drinking too much alcohol. Plus, shark meat smells, well, like urine, to be honest.
It smells like ammonia.
Yeah.
And while the smell probably wouldn't bother any predators, the toxicity of shark meat is a serious argument. The flesh of the Greenland shark is so toxic that warm-blooded animals steer clear of it. Its meat is considered extremely dangerous for sled dogs, ravens, and some other birds. Basically, even if the Greenland shark looked slow and easy to catch at first glance, in reality, it's better not to mess with it. Only the most desperate animals might give it a try. For example, at the top of the food chain, the Greenland shark has just one potential rival: the sperm whale. There's evidence of this shark fleeing from the echolocation clicks of a hunting sperm whale. After the same whale died, its teeth were worn down to stubs. This made scientists realize the Greenland shark can fight back even against massive marine mammals. And while researchers haven't seen sperm whales hunting these sharks yet, there's indirect evidence. Considering that sperm whales hunt giant squids despite the danger, it's not surprising. The Greenland shark is a predator that seems to keep its distance and won't let anyone use it as food. At this point, humans are bound to make an entrance. People, unlike any other creatures, actually dare to eat Greenland shark, although to do that, the meat first has to be turned from deadly poisonous to edible. Raw shark can cause diarrhea, vomiting, and seizures, as well as an effect known as being shark drunk. So the preparation process is strict and thorough. The meat is buried in gravel by the shore for 6 to 12 weeks. Then, under the weight of stones, the liquid is pressed out and the meat ferments. Once dug up, the pieces are dried outdoors for 4 to 5 months, then cut into small cubes. And voila! There's the Icelandic delicacy called hakarl, an old national dish, by the way. Back in the day, when other foods were scarce, people ate Greenland shark almost out of necessity, and if the meat wasn't processed enough, they would actually get drunk, like on heavy drugs. After such a meal, it would take a few days to recover. These days, of course, it's easier, but shark meat still tastes peculiar. People react to hakarl in very different ways. Chef Anthony Bourdain called it the single worst, most disgusting, and terrible tasting thing he'd ever eaten. Gordon Ramsay, after tasting it, just spat his piece out. And I can't blame him. The Greenland shark is simply not meant to be eaten. It's just supposed to swim in cold waters for centuries, literally. Greenland sharks are true titans of time. They only reach sexual maturity after 100 years of life. Yes, a childhood lasting 100 years. That's even longer than hobbits. The age of bony fish is easy to tell from their otoliths, ear stones, but sharks are made almost entirely of cartilage. They don't have hard calcified tissue. Scientists found another way to look sharks in the eye. The lens in these animals grows throughout their whole life. and the older the shark, the more layers it forms. You can't count them like tree rings, but you can remove all the layers that formed since the embryonic nucleus and get an age estimate. In a 2016 study, the oldest individual was estimated to be around 392 years old, with a margin of error of 120 years. This suggested that this shark species could live up to 512 years. Theoretically, there's a shark in today's ocean from the time of the Great Plague in London in 1665 and George Washington's inauguration in 1789. All this makes the Greenland shark the longest living vertebrate known to science. And here's another interesting thing. These sharks keep growing their whole lives. There's no average adult size, like in most animals that stop growing after a while. Greenland sharks grow endlessly, as long as there's enough food. Naturally, there are secrets to such a long life, and for Greenland sharks, it's closely linked to the way they live. They grow unbelievably slowly, less than 0.4 inches per year, and have what George Burgess from the Florida Museum of Natural History calls a metabolism of a pine stump. The cold waters they inhabit keep their body temperature down, slowing metabolism and minimizing tissue damage. Deep under the pack ice, a shark's body temperature falls to 29 degrees Fahrenheit, below the freezing point of the ocean. Had they lived in warmer water, their metabolism would pick up, probably shortening their life. But so far, the cold gives them longevity. In most animals, metabolism slows as they get older, causing issues with cell recovery and accumulation of waste products. Greenland sharks don't have that. Their metabolism is slow from the start and remains slow all their lives. That's probably what lets them avoid deterioration over the years, staying young much longer than most other animals. Even a shark's organs work slowly. Its resting heart rate is just 8 to 10 beats per minute, one of the lowest among vertebrates. For comparison, a human heart beats 60 to 100 times a minute, almost 10 times faster. Slow metabolism also means that sharks need very little food just to stay alive. An average shark weighing 494 pounds only needs 2 to 7 ounces of fish or marine mammals a day. That's like a 165-pound person needing about 1 ounce of food per day, a quarter of a banana, or a bit less than half a boiled egg. On that diet, any human would quickly die. But a shark can live for centuries. And even cancer has no power over them. Usually, as an animal gets older, its body functions start to decline, and different diseases pile up and take their toll. But the Greenland shark seems to have developed genetic mechanisms that prevent these issues. Researchers discovered genes in these sharks linked to DNA repair. Rather than allowing damage, these genes can create useful molecules that slow down aging. The better the genome is kept, the longer the body stays healthy and fights off disease. The TP53 gene, called the guardian of the genome, caught attention since it's important for preventing cancer. In Greenland sharks, part of their sequence is different from that in other animals, and this probably contributes to their long life. And right away, the question comes up: is there any way to use the longevity of sharks to extend human life? Scientists, of course, aren't planning to turn people into super long-living creatures like the Greenland shark, which can live up to 400 years, but its genome offers some tempting clues. In 2021, Arne Sam decided to dig into the secrets of these sharks' long lives. First, he needed a complete genome, which hadn't existed before, and putting it together turned out to be no easy task. Fishermen spent a long time catching sharks in the northern fjords of Greenland to get their brains to the lab. In the end, the scientists managed to extract the DNA and assemble the genome for study. Unfortunately, the result was predictable. Sharks are too far removed from humans for their longevity mechanisms to work on us. Still, the Greenland shark's genome complemented other data on long-lived species, giving scientists a better understanding of aging. The goal isn't to make people live longer, the goal is to keep people healthier for longer, Sam explained. And by the way, if we wanted to live 400 to 500 years, we'd have to live like a Greenland shark. Move very little, stay in the cold all the time, and eat just 1 plate of food a month, over and over. Would you agree to that? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button. See you later.